Hello neighbor, I'm Burns and welcome once again to another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. And I know in our last feature in the text portion with regard to Kasha Domain, I had indicated that I'd give Jeff Landry about a week to enjoy a celebratory victory before resuming our extensive coverage of Louisiana State Police. But let me just say this, I can tell that with this victory that came last Monday, things are going to move rather quickly. Within the Landry camp, they'll say, well, we weren't expecting this, we thought we'd be campaigning another 5 weeks, but the reality has set in that you are now governor. And so I'm making this feature because one of the most critical appointments that Jeff Landry is about to make, Governor-elect Landry, is that of the Louisiana State Police Colonel. Now, that appointment does not attract the level of fanfare of, say, the Commissioner of Administration, but I'm telling you right now, the appointment of the Louisiana State Police Colonel is one of the most important positions that any governor appoints. And I'm very blunt about this. If he messes up here, it can cost him dearly. The same way I gave the admonition to Governor-elect John Bell Edwards if he reappointed Mike Edmonson, okay? When I say people, I mean troopers, both retired and active. When they found out that Mike Edmonson had been appointed Colonel of Louisiana State Police, they were in disbelief. And we're going to give you former Colonel Edmondson's disciplinary record. You can pull each one of them up. There'll be links for each one of them. We had a 1983 situation where he was in an at-fault accident. We had a follow-up 5 years later where he decided he would go down and do off-duty detail for when the Pope came down to visit. Mike Edmonson is big-time Catholic, if you didn't already know this. There was also in 1991, reckless operation of a vehicle. Then in 1994, perhaps the most damning one, basically he was drunk. They say you should have been cognizant of your condition when you were behind the wheel. And that's a flowery way of saying he was drunk. Completely demolished the vehicle. This is in 1994. Then in 1995, when he was in the drive-through teller lane for a Whitney Bank on Government to make a deposit, he says he was reaching under the car to get a deposit slip. He had his son with him in the car, which was another violation. And he reached his version is he reached under the seat to get a deposit slip, and his foot went off of the brake and he crashed he rear-ended the vehicle in front of him in the drive-through lane. Now that's his version. So needless to say, when Mike Edmonson was appointed under the Jindal administration, which would have been early 2008, let me be blunt about this. That began a downward spiral for state police from which it has not recovered to this day, and it's just been, complete downward spiral to depths that would be completely unimaginable. And Bobby Jindal, in appointing Mike Edmonson, all he did was do what so many other governor-elects have done, or governor once you make the actual appointment, and appoint whoever the Louisiana Sheriff's Association tells you you're going to appoint. Now, one or two situations could have happened with Jindal in 2008. Either they did no vetting at all, or they just did what the LSA told them to do, or possibly both. But my own theory, for what it's worth, is they knew that Edmonson had all of these problems, and therefore they could hold that over his head. If you don't do what we tell you to do, we'll mysteriously say, well, look, there were some things that cause us concern. Maybe he's not the right man for the job after all. And with John Bell Edwards, we'll break away for just a moment, only about 12 seconds, and you can see exactly why he did whatever the LSA told him to do. during his 8 years as governor, and one of the biggest reasons that LSP is in the disastrous state that it's in now. We'll break away and be right back.
Let me tell you something. I am the brother of a sheriff, the son of a sheriff, the grandson of a sheriff, and the great-grandson of a sheriff.
All right, so you've seen why Governor John Bel Edwards would just acquiesce to the Louisiana Sheriff's Association, and they insisted on the reappointment of Mike Edmonson. Okay, so now we're talking, in fact, we can fast forward everything to January of 2016, at which time Governor John Bel, quote, honor code, unquote, Edwards, somebody was clearly lying, because there was another blogger who was adamantly opposed to Edmonson's reappointment, and he asked Edwards prior to the election, do you intend to reappoint Mike Edmonson? Edwards replied, I haven't thought about it. And then on inauguration night, according to Mike Edmonson, Edwards said, quote, I never considered anybody but you for the position. And we gave the warning on December 8, 2015, prior to him even announcing that Mike Edmonson would be named colonel as part of the formation of JBEFraud.com. And Lord, did that get loaded down with just a ton of problematic appointments, starting out with Mike Edmonson. But here's the situation. The LSA, you can bet your bottom dollar, is pushing for who they want now. And from all of my sources, and this would be consistent with the past of what we were told at the time that Colonel Davis got appointed, they want Frank Besson, okay? I'm going to call him Mike Edmonson 2.0, because the situation with Mike Edmonson is you may as well put a middle name in there, Mike Party Down Edmonson, okay? And I had numerous troopers that told me the only way you were going to advance under the Edmonson regime is you had to be in his clique and get down to the French Quarter and party down with him. And I had numerous troopers to tell me if you were just somebody who wanted to go out steadfastly, put in the dedication of doing your job and go home and be with your family and run a family unit, you weren't going anywhere under the Edmonson regime, okay? And many of them decided as fast as they could, when they hit retirement, they got out of there. And I believe we have Edmonson 2.0 as a pending potential appointment to LSP Colonel, that being Frank Besson. So Jeff Landry or any of your crew, if you're watching this, and I would hope that you would, if you're going to vet if you're going to vet Frank Besson, just ask a couple of questions, okay? Number one, did you have a period during which you resided at the LSTA, that's Louisiana State Troopers Association headquarters, where you laid your head down at night? If the answer is in the affirmative, yes, did anything eventful happen during that time that you spent there? Either I get some very inaccurate information, which would not be the norm, or he needs to answer those questions. And look, I know Jeff Landry likes to party down, okay? You know, and as everyone knows, it was a very backhanded endorsement that I gave. And so LSP has sank to levels that are just unfathomable. The morale is through the floor. This current colonel has made a complete disaster, as has every appointment that Edwards made. Be it Edmonson, be it Reeves, or be it Davis. And I want to make one thing clear. If someone says, oh, well, you're only speaking to white troopers, because the white troopers are not happy at all with Davis. But here's the reality. Many of the black troopers, I've talked with them right here in this very facility. I visited with a trooper who got so fed, a black trooper who got so fed up that he called it a day at state police. Black troopers who are good, who would warrant promotions, don't like it when they see incompetence at the top of the list for what causes appointments by the current colonel. And for him to be someone who allegedly said, look, if you've got disciplinary problems, you can forget a promotion, all right? Well, the reality has been that if you don't have disciplinary problems, you're not going to get promoted, all right? and that has adversely affected the morale of good black troopers. Not only did he sit down with me for about 2 hours, but other troopers were phoned in, okay? Other recent departed black troopers, okay? So don't get it out of your mind that, because I'm sure Chavez Cameron will look at this and say, well, he's only talking to white troopers. That is flat out inaccurate, Lieutenant Colonel Chavez Cameron. But while we're on the subject, yeah, there are an awful lot of white troopers, and the black trooper who was gracious enough to spend 2 hours with me did confirm. He confirmed it. That Lamar Davis has gone from troop to troop saying the #1 priority will be promoting minorities, whether it be black or female or both. And that has been the #1 criterion looked at for promotions. It's that simple. And that has severely adversely affected morale. We've already given a link where the State Police Commission has basically, presumably on cue, has said they have put a heavy focus about diversifying state police. Diversifying state police is fine if you're choosing the most qualified one who posted for the job, but that is not happening, okay? And there are folks that are fed up. We did a feature about one retired trooper who did file a reverse discrimination suit. We'll be updating that, but we are going to have a number of features coming out during this period between when Jeff Randy has prevailed in the election and when he will be inaugurated, and you'll start to see what a complete and utter disaster state police is right now. I'm talking about current events that are going on, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make this a short video in the hope that anybody would watch it in its entirety. And I'm just going to give you the admonition, Jeff Landry, Governor-elect Landry, because I don't know who all will put their name in the hat. This whole business, if it has to come from within state police, that itself, but that's what your hands are tied right now because the Constitution says it. But that itself breeds nothing but continue. A cancer does not cure itself, okay? You have to bring in outside, and that would be in the way of chemotherapy, because that's what LSP needs, okay? It is a cancer, all right? And it's been brewing from the time Mike Edmonson took office in 2008, all right? And the ball is now in your court about at least one particular one. And we'll see if it's just going to be business as usual, and Frank Besson is named as the next LSP colonel. I can just tell you it's not going to go over well at all if that happens. But, only you, Governor-elect Landry, can decide if you're just going to continue the consistent pattern that has happened from governor to governor and bow to the Louisiana Sheriff's Association and do exactly what they tell you to do. That's what you're getting paid the big bucks for. You've won the prize, so it's time to see just what is going to transpire. Because while I did give you the back-ended endorsement, I never made any commitment that, Jeff Landry is now governor. Happy days are here again. And no. I will still continue to be at every state police commission meeting, and we're going to be on top of state police. Rest assured, I don't care who's in the governor's mansion. So, with that, tried to keep the video as short as I could, but you have a very, very, very important appointment that you're about to make, Governor-elect Landry. Take the time and choose someone who will ultimately make this state proud. Because I'm telling you right now, the last 3 colonels who have served over the last 15 years have been an utter and unequivocal disaster that has landed us where we are under a pattern and practice investigation and Justice Department, investigation for which you'll be governor, presumably as the results of that come out. So take some time. Don't just make this on a whim. And I'm urging you not to just bow to the wishes of the Louisiana Sheriff's Association, because quite frankly, it's their admonitions to previous governors that has LSP in an unmitigated disastrous state that you are unfortunately inheriting. I want to thank everyone for your dedication to Sound Off Louisiana, and we'll see what Governor-elect Landry does with regard to this important appointment, and we'll go forward from there. So the ball's in your court, Governor-elect Landry. We'll see everyone again soon for another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. Thank you so much.